Okay, next is Medtronic. So Medtronic is an interesting one. It's sort of headquartered in Dublin, Ireland, but in reality it's one of these companies that did an inversion. They were a US company headquartered in Minnesota, and they decided to do a thing where they were acquired by an Irish company in order to get into a lower tax environment and tap into their offshore cash. It's slightly tricky though, because the listing MDT still remains on the New York Stock Exchange with a market cap of $114.9 billion. So you can see it's a big one. Price to earnings ratio 29.27, dividend yield of 2%. Let's go straight to the share chart, which I'm happy to see we have been able to obtain, although because of the inversion, even though it's been listed since the 1960s, you only see this bit here from the last year and a half. So it's a bit confusing. It's
a bit volatile, but I mean, generally the trend is positive. I actually really like this business. You know, the company they bought in Ireland was a big deal. I think it was about $42 billion that they spent on it in about 2015.
Covidien,
very, very well-known brand name in South Africa, actually. And that would be your general medical supplies that you would have within hospitals. But Medtronic, again, very much, you know, big with the hip replacements, the knee replacements, but they're very well diversified.
Pacemakers, though. They were the ones that invented the battery-powered thing that you stick inside of you to give your heart.
What's amazing is they put that in a pouch now, and they put it inside, and that pouch helps with regards
to
sits
here in your clavicles, correct, place, which is not.
And then you don't get an infection essentially. And they've got this whole deal with hospitals that if you have our pacemaker, which will only go with that pouch, and you still get a infection, we'll pay $10,000 towards the cure of your infection. Because that's a big deal with pacemakers. I was reading is that if you get an infection, the average cost to fix you,
take it out,
is another $50,000 essentially.
I can imagine.
And these things are incredibly expensive to install.
But they're incredibly clever now. So the old original ones just had like a battery in it which would run out and would just give you a regular pulse, right, for someone who's got arrhythmia. Nowadays they're so clever, the batteries are so tiny, plus they don't give you a shock.
An electric shock.
I'm not using the right words. Unless your heart doesn't do the job itself. So it listens to your heart, and then it's like, oh no, Fred is not working properly, and I'm going to give him a quick rev.
So that's exactly right. So that's the new generation of products where they're starting to listen to the body, and they're starting to react before the body needs to react. If they kind of anticipate what is going to happen essentially. So love the business. They are very well diversified. They've got decent exposure internationally, so they're not just concentrated on the American market. I got it wrong there. They don't actually specialize in knee replacements and hip replacements. It's everything else essentially.
Spinal,
insulin pumps as an example as well. Spinal operations
and
all the
insulin
other.
Pump, again, the newest versions actually monitor your blood sugar levels and then feed it to you.
Correct. And anticipate if your blood sugar is going to be dropping or it's gone up too much, and then
so you don't need an Alsatian anymore to come with you. That was the old technology.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, you know, they have dogs that they train to like notice if you're beginning to
if you're about to go into a diabetic coma. No. So those are quite expensive. Those are, I found out, those are $5,500 just to buy. So that's about 80,000 Rand. That excludes the actual.
So you got to be on first name terms with your medical aid.
Absolutely.
The only thing I suppose you could say is a long-term risk, but I'm hesitate even to mention it, is if the drugs that they have got for cholesterol and heart disease management get so good that people don't have to have joint and valve replacements and pacemakers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There could almost be. But I mean, come on.
I think that's not something that's going to happen anytime.
Obesity is such an enormous issue.
So these are this whole communicable diseases: obesity, diabetes, heart disease. It's actually getting worse. So I think we generally are more aware of the health risks, but we're not doing anything about it.
Okay. Anyway.
So these companies are making money.
Hop and they certainly are. So we're hot on this one too.
I am. I really like the industry.
Medtronic.
Like the company specifically as well.